this is Tier 1, or this was Tier 1. Tier 1 was supposed to be a tactical competitive first-person shooter. It was born out of a studio called, I believe it's called NeoRun. NeoRun is a studio that was formed out of former developers from Downpour Interactive, which is a studio that was owned by Meta. They're the ones who made the very acclaimed shooter Onward almost a decade ago. For those who don't know, about a year and a half to 2 years ago, there was a round of layoffs at Reality Labs within Meta, and the Downpour Interactive team was, from all reports, gutted, and a lot of people got let go from there. 8 former people from that studio spun off to form this studio, along with about 12 other people. I think there's 20-ish people working on this game. To go into the background of it, they did a Kickstarter, and they were trying to raise 40,000 euros in total to basically get this game off the ground and get it released in early access. They were going to take this early access version and pitch it to investors and people to try to get money to basically finish the rest of the game. I would love to show you the trailer from their official YouTube channel, but their YouTube channel, along with multiple other outlets, their social media, their X page, and most of their other social media channels have since been shut down. So the early access released, and to say the reception was rough would be kind. The game, before it was delisted, has a rating of 3.1 on the Horizon store. Just going through a few early access reviews. Abandonware, this is a 1-star review. Devs have basically abandoned this project. The website for the game and the studio is offline. All their social media is shut down, and there are no more public plans for updates or to support this game further. This one for February 20th, another 1-star, a masterclass in overpromising and I'm guessing it's supposed to say under delivering. I backed Tier 1 on Kickstarter with $5,000, believing in the grand vision sold to us: tactical realism, next generation graphics, fluid gameplay. These were the promises. What we received, however, is an undercooked, bare bones shooter that barely makes Onward from 2016 look like a masterpiece of innovation. Let's start with the features, or lack thereof. No bots, barely any guns, sound design that feels like it was ripped from a royalty-free library. Woo! The gameplay, supposedly the core of the experience, lacks weight, impact, and proper feedback, and the frame rate unacceptable even by early access standards. The graphics were touted as cutting edge, yet what we have is something that barely scrapes by as functional. Low detail environments, poor animations, and lighting that looks like it was configured in a single afternoon. It's as if the developers aimed for next-gen realism, but landed somewhere between Operation Flashpoint and a Unity store asset flips. Worse yet, the developers' priorities are baffling. Instead of investing in development, they somehow found the time and budget to purchase 250,000 YouTube subscribers, manufacturing artificial hype while ignoring the real issues of their game. If only they had spent as much effort on gameplay depth as they did inflating their social media presence. For those of us who believed in Tier 1 and backed it in good faith, this release is nothing short of a betrayal. The game is a soulless shell of what was promised, lacking the fundamental elements that define the tactical shooter. As it stands, Tier 1 isn't just a disappointment, it's an embarrassment. Avoid at all costs. Then came a word from the developers after the less than kind reception. We'll just say it like that. And this is in 2 parts. This from screenshots. Shout out to Samson for the Let's Talk Oculus podcast for making sure that these were documented, because I am not in their Discord and I didn't want these to be erased. All right, hi everyone. I tried to stay in the background, but based on popular demand, rightfully so, we've been asked to finally give an update on the state of the game and the way forward. The Tier 1 prototype was launched quite early after over a year of development by a team of engineers, QAs, and artists with one key goal: to demonstrate to investors and partners that there was genuine excitement and support from the community to continue development. This momentum would have been essential to secure last mile funding, a common and necessary step for smaller studios in game development. Creating a high quality title is extremely costly and time consuming, as many of our competitors can confirm. Unfortunately, the feedback and engagement from the community did not meet expectations. While many expressed a desire for continued development, the actual support didn't reflect that, i.e. the game didn't sell. And in a competitive space, that's always a risk in fair play. As a result, the studio has been unable to secure the funding needed to move forward as planned. Second part of the message: we understand this may be disappointing for some, but for the team, it has been even more so. That said, restructuring efforts are underway. We're not giving up. We're actively exploring ways to keep the project alive and moving forward. This means development is not on track as originally planned, but the game is also not technically dead. For some of you, it may feel that way, and that's your call to make. On top of that, currently we're experiencing issues with the meta server due to a policy change we unfortunately missed to provide the admin work for it, amidst everything else. We're sorry for the inconvenience and are working to restore beta access as soon as possible. However, this server environment has become increasingly toxic. Again, reminder, this was on their Discord. If this doesn't change, we'll consider restricting access at least temporarily. To those who've shown true support personally or through the Kickstarter, thank you. It's been a big and risky commitment to make, and it is highly appreciated. We'll do our best to keep you updated. We can't make promises right now, but please know it's not for lack of effort. Even if this game came back to the Quest store, this has an almost insurmountable hill to climb to get to a level of respectability. These reviews are brutal, and I could go on and on and on. Are they really going to weather the storm and try to come back with now basically not having any funding? I don't know. They're saying it's not dead. I have a hard time believing that that's the case, but I'm happy to be proven wrong. A couple of things that stood out to me in this message in Discord, that it went from early access to prototype, and I think there's a really choice use of the word prototype there, because by prototype it almost gives you an out, because now even early access isn't considered an excuse for a game being bad. There's a difference between a game being early in development and a game being bad. All the reports are from everyone I know has played this is that the game itself is just bad. Using the word prototype, I think, is almost like a gaslighting way to kind of insulate yourself from criticism when basically you didn't deliver. And the other thing here was for those who have shown true support. I don't like that phrase, because true support to me is toxic positivity. Is yeah, it's okay, it's all right, the game's okay, it's good for what it is. It's the same crap that went around about Attack on Titan. It's the same crap that went around about the first release of Wanderer Fragments of Fate and a whole bunch of other games that just were not good at the start. I don't think it makes it to the Horizon store if it is just a prototype. Prototype to me is like a 5-second tech demo. That's not what this was. This was, I'm not gonna say it's fully baked, but this was in a playable state, and this was enough that they felt comfortable charging people $13 for it. They should have made it free from the beginning. They should have took the Ghost of Tabor route if they really wanted to do that, because Ghost of Tabor, for the people who played that early, was a janky, disgusting mess. And the number of people and the number of content creators that they paid, and the number of people that said it's okay for early access, but it's also the only extraction shooter we have on VR. The number of people who twisted themselves into a pretzel saying that game was good when it wasn't good. It was just the only extraction shooter that was available, and that's why people were telling themselves it was good. And then Exfil Zone came out and they were like, nah dog, this is how you do an extraction shooter. And now people were like, oh, Ghost of Tabor is shanky and it's got problems, so the weapon handling. This is all the stuff that people like me were saying before, but no one wanted to listen because they were like, it's an extraction shooter in VR, it's awesome, it's okay. Is tier 1 dead? In my honest opinion, I don't see this coming back anytime soon, if ever, especially with the funding thing that they talked about in this announcement. But I don't know, we'll see.